Today, I'm going to show you how to build a car inside Scrap Mechanic Chapter 2. This is going to be the perfect tutorial if you want to know how to build your own custom car, as I'm going to explain everything from what bearings do to how engines work to how you need to fuel engines, literally how all the main components of a car works, so you can build your own without having to follow the guides in the game. This is my truck that took many hours to build. That includes the resource gathering, and this is a tiny wheelbarrow thing that I found literally on the side of the road. Which one do you think is more difficult to build if you were trying to build it? In terms of, the components and the wiring. If you said the truck, you're wrong, because they both actually use the exact same system. This wheelbarrow is just a seat hooked up to an engine, and the engine's hooked up to the wheels, and this truck is a seat that's hooked up to the engine, that's hooked up to the wheels. All of these wheels are powered. So it is not complex at all to build a car, is the point I'm trying to make. But I think I'll use this as a quick demonstration on what each component does. First of all, you have the saddle. This is your driver's seat. This is what you sit into to control, and you literally just use W, A, S, and D. A and D right there to turn and forward, W and S to go forwards and backwards, really easy. But that only works if you use your connection tool. You must use a connection tool. A connection tool in Scrap Mechanic is how you connect up the, connection tool is how you connect different, pieces, such as the seat to the engine. Otherwise, it would run off just like this. You can grab it really easily with your lift. So the seat is how you control the car. Moving on to the engine is how the car actually moves. You connect the engine to any bearings that are connected to the wheels, and if the engine has fuel, it will go forward. And then I guess moving on to the wheels are just blocks that are connected to bearings, just like that. And a bearing is that right there. That is a bearing. If a bearing receives power, such as an engine or a controller, anything that gives it movement, it will spin. And the engine, you can actually set which way that spins. You can see it's got two arrows making a sort of like this rotation. So if I just lift it up like that and let it go of the seat, you'll see it will start spinning in that direction. But if I reverse it, you'll see it will start spinning in the other direction. And if I drop the lift, it will start moving in that direction. Oh yeah, forgot to mention steering. You just connect the driver's seat to a bearing that is facing down, just like this. And usually when you connect it to the bearing, the steering's inverted. I am pressing left right now, and it is going right. And as you can see, it is turning it the wrong way round. So you just need to flip that. So now when I go right, it goes right. When I go left, it goes left. So I think that's the basic steps on how you build a car. The seat is how you drive it, the engine is how it moves, and the bearings are the wheels, pretty much. Now, when it comes to actually building things like the truck, you'll notice that the seat and the engine looks a little bit different to those ones down there, especially the engine. This is a scrap engine. This is where you get the early game until you unlock the craft bot in here. This guy allows you to craft the normal gas engine. Here are the resources right there that you need to craft that. And then the seat that was using was the saddle. It's 3 blocks wide, whereas this is a driver's seat and it's 4 blocks wide. That's the only difference. Now, if we actually go into the gas engine, you'll see it says level 5. And when you make yourself an engine, you'll have the option to level it up. And the higher the level of the engine, the more efficient it will be when consuming fuel. The scrap engine down here is absolutely terrible and will chug down fuel. So you really want to get yourselves a normal engine ASAP. Same thing goes with the seat. This is absolutely fine. There's nothing about it, but you can upgrade it if you want more connections to it. So if you want to connect more bearings to the seat, just like that. So if you're building a plane or a helicopter, you probably would. Now, when it comes to upgrading the wheels right here, if I grab this one, you can see it's really rough. It's really scrappy because it's the scrap wheel. You'll see it's a really rough ride. It's not smooth at all. We actually just fell over right there. And to upgrade it, all you need is some beeswax, which you get from rock nodes, just like that one right there. You'll also have the option to get a bigger wheel. Here is the small wheel, and here is the big wheel. You can see that they're a lot smoother, and it's actually what I am using for the truck. right here. You can see I'm using the big wheels and then the small wheels right here. But then to get a little bit more advanced, you also have suspension right here. To make your ride a lot smoother, you can add suspension. This is actually how I would recommend setting up, for an early game at least, this is how I'd recommend setting up suspension on your steering. So you'd have your building block and then you'd place a suspension on top of it. It could be off-road or sports. And then you'd place a block at the end of the suspension. Then under that block, you place a bearing. And then you'd place another block. I'd usually go with pipe pieces instead of full blocks like this right here. I think they have less chance of actually hitting into the wheels. So anyway, once you place a block underneath that bearing, you want to place a bearing on the side of it, just like this. If I remove these wheels, you'll see that there's a bearing right here, which is what the engine is connected up to. And then you'd obviously want to hook this bearing right here. You want to hook that up to your steering. And just like that, you got some steering with suspension. Alright, so I'm going to show you how to build a car really easily. All you want to do is place a 3-block wide platform, just like that. Place your seat on it, just like that. And then you want a spot for your engine. And then you would extend out the front, and you can just do something as simple as this. Building 3 blocks across. Place a bearing underneath this one. Build like 2 blocks down to you know, get some clearance off the ground. Place a bearing on the end of this block, and then place a wheel on that. And then you want to build 3 blocks across. Put a bearing underneath that. Build 2 blocks there. Place a bearing on the end of that. And then place a wheel on that. Now you can do the exact same on the back if you want 4-wheel steering. Or if you don't want to steer on the back, you just don't include these bearings, so you just build it just like that without the bearings, and then just whack the wheels on the back just like so, and boom, there's your car. Well, not exactly. Actually, none of it's hooked up. You see, if we try and steer, I'm trying to steer right now, and nothing's working. That's because we haven't hooked it up. So grab your connect tool, hook the seat up to the engine. This allows you to power and control the engine, and make sure this is the first thing you do. Don't hook your engine up to your wheels, otherwise the engine is always on and say goodbye to your creation. So make sure you have the driver's seat connected up to the engine first, and then connect it up to the wheels. And with the scrap engine, you can only connect it up to 2. You can see if I try and connect it up to 3, it just can't. So that's another reason to upgrade to the normal engine. Hook the driver's seat up to the steering just like that, and make sure the rotation is correct on your bearings. Is the steering correct? The steering is not correct. It says that we're out of fuel, which is a good shout. Grab your gas. But yeah, once you got your gas, put it in there. The scrap engine doesn't have a lot of power, but if you're literally building a car that looks like this, you can leave it on the first setting. But then you can get in, make sure the steering's right, and you can go. It's a crappy car, but it's a car nonetheless. So yeah, that is how you build a car in Scrap Mechanic Chapter 2. But anyway, I hope you found this useful. If you did, please do subscribe. A huge shout out to all my members on screen right now. You guys are absolutely amazing. And yeah, have a good one, guys.